All right. So welcome. Our agenda for our time together, we're going to briefly review our Zoom norms. We'll have a quick community builder. Our grade level leaders will be here to provide some grade level updates and highlights from the week. And then we'll talk through some academic updates, school culture, and we'll have some time for Q&A at the end. And just a reminder of our Zoom norms, that as I just shared, I am recording the meeting so that I can share it with families that can't join us tonight. The chat feed on all of our Zoom meetings is also recorded and monitored, so we can make sure that we get back to you. We have increased privacy measures. This is a password protected Zoom meeting. So just as a reminder, that we want to keep those invitations within the Girls Prep community. So when I post them on, oh my gosh, Ariana Hickman, I see you in the corner. Hello. Good to see you. I can't see full screen yet, but I can see you in there. But it is password protected. So when I post it on our Facebook page, that's a private page. Just ask that you keep the invitation to us so we don't have anyone joining that we don't need. Throughout the meeting, if you have a question, you can do one of two things. You can either use the raise a hand function, and that will indicate to me that you need us to pause and you need to ask a question, and you can come off mute to do that. You can also type questions in the chat feed. We have multiple staff members and our grade team leaders on that will be monitoring the chat feed and responding there as we go. Other than that, we just ask that everyone remains muted when you're not speaking, just so we can control the background noise as we go through our time together. Well, this is great. I should have previewed the community builder so that I would have known what was coming. Go ahead, Ms. Lopez, tell us what we're doing today.
Sure. So we're actually, Ms. Cogan has been working with the 5th grade students and being very creative, might I add. So I don't know if you have been into this or you remember this, but I remember being really young and like taking all these like MySpace quizzes and all these things that were telling me like if I was going to be a millionaire and who I was going to marry and all these good things. So I adapted that, and we're not going to find out. We know that you're already married. We're not going to find out who you're going to marry. Although I did want to find out what your princess name was, but that's not what we're going to do today. I played this with a 7th grade student and 8th grade student earlier today. Found out their emotional age. So we're just going to find out your emotional age today, Ms. Strong. So I'm going to share my screen. One second. Let's go here. My thing still says Serena Ruiz because I was using her account. You disabled participant screen sharing. So unless you want to take the quiz for yourself and you want to show us what the answers are, cool. So I'm going to ask you the questions, although you're not going to share the screen.
No, I'm gonna share the screen. I muted myself on the norms and I just can't move fast enough. No, hold on. Now I'm feeling oddly nervous. Okay, hold on. Oh, you're signed in as Miss Ruiz?
Yeah.
All right, I'm making you the host. I could put you in the waiting room so no one has to know what my emotional age is, but I'm not gonna do that.
That's okay. I think I just want to shout out again, like I said, Colgan has been doing really great things with the students. There's a student who completed her assignments for today and for tomorrow just so she could fill this out, like just so she could have this time with Ms. Colgan. Like she was like, hey, I did this and I did that. And she's like, all right, great. Well, like you don't gotta be on class. She's like, no, I'm here for the BuzzFeed. Like I'm here. So it's just really exciting that kids are invested, even if it's finding things out. So you're going to pick the things that I tell you. This is going to go really fast, I promise. So you have to grab something rich and chocolatey from these options. Brownie, cupcake, you should be off mute because I have to hear you, Ms. Strong. Lava cake, ice cream, waffle, or tart.
My God. Go back. Brown. I'm feeling very nervous.
Fruity.
Keep going. I'm gonna say cheesecake. Oh, that's regrettable. Should have gone apple pie.
Take a cookie.
Oh, chocolate chip. I don't even need to see the rest.
Cut yourself a slice of cake.
Keep scrolling.
Matcha and chocolate at the bottom.
Oh, my favorite would be yellow cake with chocolate frosting, and that's obviously not an option here. So I'm gonna say carrot out of those choices.
Something cold.
Banana pudding, done.
You're interesting. Something Instagrammable.
Oh my gosh. Do I have to eat it or just put it on my Instagram?
Well, it just says colorful and Instagrammable. I don't know.
Okay. I'm gonna go with the donuts because that just looks the coolest.
All right, eat something fancy. This was hilarious because the 7th graders is like, how do I even say clear? Like, what? It was really good.
What are the last two?
Last two's creme brulee.
Oh, and the whatever the heck that thing is on the left.
I don't know.
Scroll up. Sorry, this is an important question here. I'm gonna say cannoli.
That's a good question. All right, pick one more just because.
Oh, blondies.
All right, you got.
Okay. Excellent.
You generally act your age, and there's nothing wrong with that. So it says that you're actually 15 and emotionally 15, which is probably you're actually your age and you act your age. So you're just starting to step out of your comfort zone, both in life and food. Way to go.
Wow, 15. I don't even want to think about where I was actually when I was 15. That was a long, long time ago. My 15-year-old self was something else. Well, that was fun. Thanks, Miss Lopez. And I encourage everyone to have their children take that quiz tonight so we know our emotional ages. Miss Lopez, do you want to keep hosting and screen share and I'll just talk us through the slides? Awesome. Turning it over to Ms. Colgan to share some 5th grade highlights.
Yeah, there were a ton of 5th grade highlights. Here are some adorable pictures. We've got a very cute small group happening with Miss Swat for history and a very interactive ELA class taking place. There were a ton of shout outs this week. We also played a really fun game with the teachers where we got to guess who the baby picture belonged to. And so thank you to all of the students and families who sent me baby pictures. If you are a 5th grade family and you want to send me some baby pictures so we can do another round, please do. And so shout out to Jaylene for always coming into virtual class, ready to learn and support others in the process. Malia Samuel for being a silent ninja with her craft. Her work submissions are powerful and always thoughtful. Shout out to Tiana Soto for her energy and resolve every day. Shout out to Camila for her being a leader in ELA's virtual class. Shout out to Peyton Rivera for always thinking outside of the box and dropping history knowledge on us during ELA to give us context, which makes my heart very happy. Peyton also said one of the nicest things I've ever heard to me this week. So shout out to Peyton for being really sisterly. And then shout out to Madison Hillard James for her unwavering engagement in ELA. Her mind is always right. And also shout out to Madison for always coming to small group, even the ones that are happening at 4 p.m. She's always there waiting and super ready to jump in.
Hello. I know I haven't been here in a while, but it's really exciting to join you guys this evening. We have a few shout outs by subject. So for math, we have been seeing Chloe, Charlotte, Michaela, and Jasleen showing responsibility. They've been showing up to class every single day, really prepared to learn, especially in small groups. So we want to shout them out. For ELA, Esther, Heaven, Jillian, and Kaylee, they've been showing scholarship by leading the conversation on patriarchy and feminism in class with really great insight and lots of great comments. In science, we have Danielle, Madison, and Micaiah. They've been showing merit by always being present and engaged and answering lots of questions. And in history, we want to shout out Jada because she's been showing a lot of merit lately by being super active and participating in history class. So, we're really proud of them.
Hey everyone, I have a lot of shout outs for the 7th graders today. These girls who are highlighted in the different core value colors got some shine this morning in our 7th, 8th grade unity meeting, but I just wanted to shout them out again. This week, the 7th grade team wanted to acknowledge Isabella Torres for showing a lot of scholarships since we've started remote learning. We wanted to acknowledge Danila for her merit, Kaylin for her sisterhood, and Alana Kemp Taylor for her responsibility. I also wanted to give some academic shout outs. We have 3 students who, as of right now, so this isn't like a final grade or anything, but as of right now are currently high passing every single class. That's Sanjana, Lauren, Noble, and Joanna. So awesome job. Keep showing all that scholarship and merit. And then we have a really long list, which is exciting, of kids who are high passing at least one of their classes. So great work to Isabella, Katie, Brittany, Dakota, Gabby, Biani, Zanaya, Emily, Alexa, Melina, Jeliza, Lola, Anaya Fry, Leanne, Atia, Larissa, Lauren, Caitlin, Savannah, and Michaela. They are all also doing amazing work every single day. And finally, happy birthday, Tati Jones. She's only been reminding us every single day for an entire month that her birthday was coming up. Yay, it's finally here. I love a virtual birthday celebration. Yeah, just great job to all the 7th graders who are routinely putting in hard work, showing up to class every day. It's really paying off. Many of them are doing really excellent work, and we've all been really impressed.
Also, happy birthday to Kaylee Ann Osario, who's 14 years old today. Imagine I met her 4 years ago when she was a precious 10 years old, but they grow up, they move on, they forget us. Something I don't want to talk about. Anyways, so just a few students we want to shout out for Sisterhood, Aaliyah Ferreira, and we have some honorable mentions, Mylin, Starava, Nora, and Gabby. For merit, Victoria L. Honorable mentions, Arthedral, Morgan, Noelia, Samara, and Anthonea. Scholarship is Janai, and we can't forget about Victoria Garcia, Aubrey, Jaylene, and Emery. And responsibilities, Morgan. And then Kendall, Crystal, Ryan, and Caitlin Neal and Ariel Robinson get some shout outs. We know this process is really hard, especially for our 8th graders who, have like lost all hope for the end of the year, but to see these girls still pushing through and trying, it's really hopeful. It makes the day so much better for teachers every day when we wake up Monday through Friday. And on the right-hand side, you can see the list of girls that are currently passing every single class. I'm not gonna read the names, you can see them there. But thank you to everyone that's playing a part in ensuring that the girls are up every day, participating, turning in work. I know this is tough, but they will get through this, and they are really just showing us time and time again, like how strong they are. So thank you to all the family and friends that are a part of this process.
Awesome. Thanks, GLT leaders. I don't know if you all just witnessed that. I have a lovely dog that just came and shook wet water all over the place. So excuse me for trying to wipe down the computer. She's a little beast. So just wanted to revisit some of the Yes, wet water as opposed to dry water. I know. Listen, it's after 5 o'clock. We all know that our brains are, some of us, not at our best functioning after. Hi, Maya, I see you at this point of the day. So I shared these goal updates with families in the weekly email, but just wanted to go over them a little here as well. So our attendance goal last week, so last week was week 7 of remote learning, was 94% daily, and our average attendance was at 92%. So while we didn't quite meet our goal, we were up 2% from last week. And as of today, we are super, 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 super proud and excited to say that all students, 100% of students at Girls Prep Lower East Side Middle have joined their attendance classrooms and taken their attendance. And so we are super excited. We had a couple kiddos struggling with that. And as of today, everyone has been able to access that. And so we're really, really proud and excited. We know that that number is going to continue to increase. And we're looking to hit our goal for next week. Last week, our work submission goal was 90% daily, meaning that students would submit their daily, that at least 90% of students would submit all of their assignments daily. And huge shout out to 5th grade, who had the highest work submission rates in the whole school last week at 80%. So huge shouts and snaps and claps. You may remember from one of our earliest chat and choose that we were like, oh, our 5th graders, they're like, this tech learning curve is big. They're trying to figure out how to submit things. They're working hard. We got to support them. And now they've bounced back and are leading the school with work submission. We're really, really, really proud. Must be those BuzzFeed, whatever quizzes. Great incentive for 5th grade. Yes, Ms. McCullough, I know I messed it up again. But we didn't hit our school-wide goal of 90%, but we were at 71% of our scholars were submitting all of their assignments daily. And so what we would like to do quickly while we have you all here is to just get some feedback from you on how things are going with the daily work submission and the content that students are getting. And so I am going to, I realize right now that you can't actually access this slide deck. So Miss, you know what, I can put it in the chat feed. I'm gonna put a link to a quick survey in the chat feed. And I would love for everybody to take just a moment. It should not take long to give us some feedback on how things are going with work and what are the things that we need to do to improve. So if you give me 2 seconds. If I were teaching, I'd say, turn and talk to your neighbor about.
I put it, Ms. Strong.
Oh, you put the feedback survey in there? Gosh, I have a great team. Thank you, Ms. McCullough. If everyone can click on the survey that is linked in the chat feed and just take about 2 minutes, we should have everybody's responses. And if you're having any technical issues with the form, just put that in the chat as well so that we can support. Awesome. I'm starting to see responses pop up in the form. I'm gonna give everyone a couple more minutes to fill that out. Awesome. Okay, so if I were screen sharing, I would share these results with you. Keep the responses coming if you're still working on it. Based on the responses that we've got so far, which 13 have been submitted, one thing that I want us to go ahead and be able to address is that there are 3 families at least on the call who feel that their scholars do not know how to access help from the teachers when they need help. And so I want to make sure that we can get that cleared up for those families and kind of share what that should look like. So there's a couple of ways that scholars should be able to get help from teachers. One would be to attend their virtual classes. So every grade level has shared a virtual class schedule with the links for those classes embedded for scholars. So I'd say the first way scholars should be able to get that help is to sign into virtual class. If scholars cannot sign into virtual class, they should reach out to their teachers during office hours. So teachers are pulling small groups and offering office hours in the afternoons. Ms. Walker, Ms. Grade Team Leaders, can you just confirm for me the times that your teachers are offering office hours versus when their small groups start?
Sure, I can start. For 7th grade, gen ed teachers are offering open office hours from 2 to 2:30. Students can access that using the same link that they use to access the regular class meeting. And then after 2:30, that becomes small groups.
Awesome.
For 5th grade.
Sorry,
is-
Ms. Colgan, just Ms. Lopez, I'm not sure if you realize that you're still sharing your screen. You can give the power back to me if you need to. Go ahead, Ms. Colgan.
For 5th grade, we have office hours from 2 to 2:30, small group 2:30 to 3, and then another small group from 4 to 4:30.
It's the same thing for 6th grade. Same hours, general office hours from 2 to 2:30, small group 2:30 to 3, and also another small group from 4 to 4:30.
For 8th grade, office hours are 2 to 2:30 for science and ELA and college knowledge. And for math and history, it is from 2:30 to 3. And then small group, the other 2 is from 2 to 2:30.
Awesome. So in terms of the scholars that need to get that extra help, those office hours and small group times we posted for scholars in Google Classroom. You can also, if your scholar's not in a small group, but you're like, they need the extra help and I need them to go to a small group, the next thing to do would be to just let your scholar's point of contact, their POC, know that you really need to get some additional small group support. And they can be added to one of our small groups in the afternoons to get that additional help. And what I will do with the rest of the specific needs, so thank you to those of you who put types of support that you'd like to receive that you currently aren't getting. We'll be going through all of those individual responses and following up with specific families as needed. And so it looks like overall, 81% of the families who've done the survey so far feel like the amount of work that students are doing daily is just right. There are two families that are feeling too much and one that's feeling not enough. And so again, what we will do is look at your individual responses and follow up specifically with those of you who are feeling like this is too much, because your Scholars Point of Contact can help you come up with a plan for how we can tackle that and bring a little bit more balance. And for those of you who feel like it's not enough, that's also something that we can follow up with so that you have extension opportunities. One thing I will say is that with Petals classes, even though there is only one required assignment to submit each week, our Petals teachers are posting assignments daily on the Petals Google Classroom. So one immediate fix for the family who feels like they don't have enough work right now, your scholar can always do additional Petals work every day if you're feeling like they need something additional to fill the time. The other thing I would highly encourage is independent reading. So one of our goals is that scholars are spending 30 to 45 minutes a day doing independent reading. And so whether that is on Newsela, which is one of our EdTech platforms, whether that's in a magazine or a book, the New York Public Library has virtual access to ebooks that are free for students. We'll reshare that resource if you need it. Audible.com is also offering free audiobook memberships for students during remote learning. And so we'll share out those resources as well so that you have extra independent reading materials for your scholar. Ms. Lopez, do you mind going to the next one for us? Awesome. So just sharing our week 8 through the end of the year goals. So we are aiming to get our attendance at 95%. I believe that we can do it. We're seeing those steady increases as I shared. We're looking for daily work submission rates of 95%. And as I shared, for students to independently read 30 to 45 minutes daily. And to help us meet our goals and to ensure that your scholar remains on track to receive pass or high pass in all content areas, please make sure that she submits her daily attendance question in her Google Classroom daily. Ensure that she's attending as many virtual classes and small groups as possible. Ensure that she's working to submit her work daily. We know that some students have to do the work in the afternoon after 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock because of the way that things are set up with tech at home. That's totally fine, but submitting them daily ensures that the scholars don't get behind. And we know, particularly at middle school, learning how to manage your own time and tasks is challenging. And so we don't want students getting in a hole where they feel like they've got a lot of makeup work to do. With that said, if they do have assignments they have not yet completed, they should be working to make up any of the assignments that are posted on Google Classroom that they have yet to complete. And if you are saying to yourself, I have no idea how we're going to get caught up, I feel like my scholar is really behind, that is also a conversation you should have with your scholar's point of contact so we can come up with an individualized plan to help you and your scholar chip away at some of those makeup assignments that they need to turn in. And then the last plug is really for those scholars that are aiming for high pass, that they want the distinction of going above and beyond. Make sure they're revising their work based on the feedback they're receiving from teachers. So teachers are going in and giving feedback on a minimum of 2 assignments per week and using the comment feature to tell students what they can do to improve. Scholars should be reading that feedback and responding to it, not only because it will improve their scores overall, but also because that is, again, one indicator of students going above and beyond during remote learning. We can go to the next, perfect. So academic progress updates. How do I know if my scholar is on track? Based on the feedback form, thank you, I had about 120 parents submit the communication and tech feedback form a week and a half ago. And from there, the majority of families felt like they knew how their scholar was doing during remote learning. But if you are someone who feels like I don't actually know, I'm not actually sure, you should do a couple of things. One, make sure that you are on the lookout for and accept the Guardian invite for Google Classroom. Now, that doesn't give you your own Google Classroom account, but what it does do is allows you to sign up for either daily or weekly summary emails on your scholar's progress. So you'll get an email that says, here are any assignments that are missing from all of our Google Classrooms. It'll also tell you, here are the assignments that are coming up. So if there's a due date in the next few days, it'll be listed in the email. And the last thing it will include for you are any announcements that teachers have made. So if they've added links where they can watch virtual class, if they've added any resources or made announcements, you'll see those all in one place. So again, if you haven't gotten that invitation, if you can type it in the chat feed right now, our grade team leaders are on the call and they can record your name and make sure that that invitation goes out to you this week so you can get signed up for those emails. The second way to monitor your child's progress is to log in through your scholar's Google Classroom account and to view their work and their grades. So your parent access, even if you accept that email invitation, it's not going to give you your own account to access the Google Classroom. You still have to look through your scholar's account. And we will link in the chat a YouTube video resource that we've shared previously with families that literally walks you through, where do I click to see their work? Where do I click to see the overall grade? And if you are like, both of these things feel like they're blowing my mind right now and I'm not sure how to do them, reach out to your scholar's point of contact. They can help walk you through those things or give you a more personalized update on how your scholar's doing. And just an update on academic update conferences or academic progress conferences. For those families that signed up saying, I would really like to talk to someone, we're in the process of scheduling those. We're going to be using Fridays to do, to have teachers reach out either over phone or Zoom to give you those updates starting this Friday from 9 to 12. We'll also be scheduling them next Friday from 9 to 12. For those of you that have requested an evening time to get an update, we're still working on that. Please know we haven't forgotten. But Ms. Lopez is individually scheduling these since we're not actually hosting a full conference day, and will be reaching out to those of you who have requested a conference. She might also be reaching out if your teachers, if your scholars' teachers have said, we actually definitely want to prioritize a conference. You will be hearing from Ms. Lopez about scheduling those as well. Awesome. So this is just a reminder. If you were in the last few Chat and Choose, you've seen this. You should have also received this in a letter from Public Prep Network, just outlining our Term 3 grading policy. So as opposed to getting letter grades, as we've done in the past, scholars in Term 3 are going to receive a narrative report card at the close of the school year. And that narrative report card is going to give them a grade of either high pass, pass, or did not meet guidelines for each of their classes. It's also going to include a description from the teacher about the scholar's progress and grades in trimester 3. As I shared previously, we are not going to be issuing cumulative grades, like final numeric grades for the year. So trimester 1 and trimester 2 grades, you can think of them as kind of frozen in time as snapshots of your scholar's progress, but we're not going to be using them to issue an overall GPA or cumulative grade this trimester, or excuse me, this year, because of the shifts in the grading policy. So again, in order for your scholar to receive high pass, we're looking for an attendance rate of 95% and above. And then within each content area, we're looking for 90% work submission, and for the quality of their assignments to be high based on teacher feedback. Again, examples of high pass are students who are going, they're having high accuracy on the work they're submitting. They're constantly using their strategies when they're annotating their texts. They're showing their work on GoFormative when they're using that in math. They're applying teacher feedback to their work to try to improve their score. While we are not penalizing students for not being able to attend virtual class, students who are consistently coming to virtual class or seeking out feedback and seeking help and support from their teachers, going above and beyond, those are all indicators of high pass. Scholars who are receive a grade of pass in a course, we're looking overall for their attendance rate to be above 75%. For their work submission rate in each course to be between 66% and 89%, and the quality of their work is satisfactory based on teacher feedback. These are students putting in their best effort, submitting their assignments. They are sometimes applying teacher feedback and seeking help, but they are doing the very best they can, and the quality of their work is meeting the benchmarks. For did not meet guidelines, these are students whose attendance is below 75%, who have a work submission rate in a content area of below 65%, and the quality of their assignments is poor based on teacher feedback. I want to be really clear that we know virtual learning doesn't work the same for every scholar. We know that some scholars are going to struggle with mastering the content while they're trying to learn online. And that is the reality that we're in. As long as your scholar is doing their very best, they are attempting to use their strategies, they are giving their best effort on their work, even if their accuracy, if they struggle with the content, like they can still pass the course. Students who fall and did not meet guidelines are students who, for example, are not even opening a classwork packet and are just like submitting multiple choice answers without actually reading the passage or watching the video that teachers are posting. These are students who would submit a blank document to say they turned in an assignment, but not actually have anything in the assignment. These are students who, when they need to write a short response, are including, 3-word answers, giving very, very minimal effort and not doing what we know they can. And so we are not expecting there to be many scholars that fall and did not meet guidelines, because we know that every scholar is capable of putting in her best effort. And this grading policy is not meant to be punitive. It is meant to hold students accountable and to recognize students who are excelling and going above and beyond. But as long as your scholar is doing their very best and submitting their work, there should not be a concern about them not passing the course. Awesome. Before we get into the culture section of the updates, I want to just pause to address any questions that may be coming up for families, either around the grading policy or around academics. You are welcome to either type your question in the chat feed or to use the raise a hand feature, and then I'll ask you to come off mute and you can share the question aloud. And Ms. Lopez, I think you might actually be the one who sees if anyone raises a hand, since you've got the host control right now. So if you see anyone, just let us know. Ms. Powell, I am seeing a note in the chat. I'm not sure if we responded to it, but if you received an email and it asked you a password, a parent password, or it gave you a code to submit, that means we might have accidentally sent you an invitation to join the classroom as a scholar, not a guardian. So we can loop back to that and make sure you get the right invitation.
Yeah, when I get the email, like, okay, let me go to one, for example. It will say Miss Skylander. I always think I pronounce her name wrong. Miss Sikander, thank you, Zanaya, would put up new work in the classroom. You can go look at what's going on. But then when you click that link, it will say you don't have access to this, and then it will tell you you need a PIN or a password. Okay, I'm gonna go to one. New assignment on Wednesday. Hi, Kia, science exit ticket. Here it is. And then when you click on it, it says open. I will click on classroom because I have it downloaded. It opens up and it says create a class to get started.
Got it. Let me make sure I understand. You are clicking on the assignment in the parent email, and when that
Yeah, it says,
goes to the Google Classroom, you can't get in and see it.
yeah. Oh, this must be for the students why I can't see it. Hello, students, please use the exit ticket. Right. She just let me know there's work there, but I really don't see anything else.
Yep. So Ms. Walker, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like I was going to say pretty much you just figured out on your own anyways that a lot of the stuff in the Google Classroom, unless you have the student like password, you actually can't click on. Really the most important thing is the Guardian added to the Google Classroom is the Guardian summaries. But you're not necessarily going to be able to click on any of the classwork assignments or like click on the grading tab. That's all only accessible from the student's account. So if you want to take a look at that stuff, you would need to log in with Zanaya's account.
Okay, yeah, I go through her classroom and I'll ask her at the end, let me see what she submit, and she'll tell me what she got for her exit tickets. Or if I get a text from a teacher telling me she's missing some work, then we'll go back and go through to see what she hasn't been submitted or what she's missed.
Awesome. That sounds exactly right. So you're definitely getting the right things.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So I don't see any other unresolved questions in the chat. I don't think.
Sorry.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
I have another question. I know this is from 5th to 8th, but what about like the 4th graders and stuff? Because I have a 4th grader. She's going into 5th grade, so I want to know how that transition is. Well, I'm assuming she's going into 5th grade. I want to know how that transition is going to work, and who do I speak to? Because when it asks you for the, survey to who you want to speak to, it's only from 5th to 8th.
Oh, got it. So you mean if you want to schedule a time to speak to 4th grade teachers about progress?
Right.
Got it?
Mm-hmm.
Got it. Yep. So what we can do is put you in touch with the leadership team at the Lower East Side Elementary to see how they're going about coordinating those for elementary school students.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so we're gonna move forward. And again, if you have questions that come up, you can put them in the chat. But just to let you know, we are going to be celebrating our graduates this year in a joint celebration. Miss Brooks, who is our Director of Alumni Engagement and College Completion at the network level, is currently planning what this celebration is going to look like. Obviously, we're not going to get to go into an amazing college auditorium like in years past and walk the stage, but we are going to have a virtual celebration. And so information on the dates and times is forthcoming. Please be on the lookout for that. But we are really excited that we are going to be hosting a joint celebration. We will also have some updates on our campus-specific end-of-year celebrations. Ms. Lopez, I don't know if there's anything you want to add to that now.
Going from Zoom where the mute is on the left and then Google where the mute is on the middle, it just throws me off. So just in regards to 8th grade graduation, just knowing that we are finalizing something like that, I will say that we are going to have our joint celebration, maybe with a possible breakout of our own to celebrate as an individual campus. There will be more to come, as Ms. Strong said, but I did want to let you know that we have had meetings about what that's going to look like, who the speakers are going to be, valedictorians and such. So that is really, really exciting and forthcoming. And today we met as a student support team and talked about prom. So look for an invitation from me coming in the next week. I'll be making it this week, finalizing it for approval and such, to then have sent out to you. In regards to what prom is gonna look like, are we gonna dress up? What is the music gonna be played? Possible games that we're gonna have in there. It won't be the full, I think it's like 5 hours of prom that it usually is. We'll probably just meet together for an hour, but I wanted to give the students the opportunity who did want to join the time, so that we can kind of celebrate together and do some karaoke and stuff like that. So there'll be more details on that.
Awesome.
Cool. Let's go into, you want to talk to the first bullet and then I'll go with the rest of the stuff?
Yeah, sure. So we are, just want to remind everyone of our virtual classroom norms that we've set with students. We are toying around somewhat with using Zoom as a platform in our student classes, but we've not made the full transition yet, and we will not be for a while. But I will say that there's been an improvement since the last time we talked, just in terms of community expectations and students really getting the hang of virtual learning. One thing that we want to put a plug in for is that we are asking that students, when at all possible, have their cameras on during class. We know that that's not possible for everyone. We know there are reasons that some students can't have their cameras on, and that's totally understandable and okay. The purpose of it is that in this virtual world where we're all really struggling kind of with human connection, we want to give as many opportunities as possible for us to interact with the girls and to keep the feeling of community and the relationships that we have going. And so teachers have been reminding students, like, it's time to turn on your cameras. And some students are able to do it and some aren't. And again, this is, we understand it's not going to be possible, but we are encouraging scholars. And if you can encourage your scholar, if you are okay with them having their camera on in class, that's really something that we are trying to normalize, particularly in the event that, next year, if we have to at any points have remote learning, we want to make sure that we've already established those expectations and that we are able to keep the participation and the engagement high. It also helps teachers get a temperature check on how students are doing in terms of their participation and engagement. So when we call on a student and you get that really long virtual pause where you're not sure if they're still there and we're waiting on a response, it helps with our classroom engagement. So again, it's not a mandate. No one is going to call you and say students have to have their cameras on, but it is our community expectation. And we would love your support with that when at all possible. And I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Lopez to talk about upcoming Unity meetings.
Great. So just wanted to mention the upcoming Unity meetings next week and the following week, June 3rd and June 10th. Oh no, that's not next week. May 27th and June 3rd, we'll be talking about college and career, so specifically in Unity Meeting. But for those of you that are new to our network, or if this is your first time with our middle school, we do have a college and career week at our campus where staff, family members, friends, colleagues, people that we may have known in the past, we invite them to our campus to talk to the girls about their career, talk to them about different options, different schools that they went to. It's actually a pretty exciting time. We've had all kinds of people, nurses, doctors, correction officers, DEA agents, all people from all different walks of life, alumni who have come back to talk about the colleges that they're currently at, to give the girls a sense of like, these are people in your circles, people that may look like you, that you can connect with and ask more questions to, that you may not see on a day-to-day basis. So it's a really exciting time, and although we cannot do it in person, we wanted to make sure that we still gave students an opportunity. So this, we're flipping it a little bit this year, and we're going to have College and Career Week hosted by our very own staff. So we obviously know what their current career is, but there are many staff members who come from very different walks of life, and we're doing very different things before this, or want to do different things after this. So it's actually pretty exciting to have this opportunity to build more relationships with our people, with the people we have right in our classrooms. So this won't be happening in the school-wide Unity Meeting. This will be happening more in classrooms, but I just wanted to flag this for you that it will be happening. Another thing that I wanted to mention in terms of Unity Meeting was that I know there may be some confusion around the core values. So people are getting these core value awards, right? But we are gonna give out those core value polos at the end of the year. I wanna make sure that you know that I would love to get these core value polos mailed to your house. The moment that I can get into the building and get my hands on those shirts, I will get in there. But right now we cannot get into the building, and I unfortunately did not bring any home. I should have thought to do that. But you know, in the rush of thinking I was coming back, I didn't grab it. So just ensuring that we are letting students know we will be having our trimester 3 core value polos for 5th, 6th, and 7th grade, because 8th graders do not get another polo at the end of the year. But as soon as we can find a way to get those to you, hopefully before we see you, we will. Just have to cross our fingers that things progress a little faster in a safer way.
Thanks, Ms. Lopez. I did see a question in the chat earlier from Gabby and Ms. Cruz. Any update as to when the girls lockers will be cleaned out and how to pick up the stuff? So what we are waiting on right now is clearance to get in our building. So right now, the city has said that any co-located schools, so our school building, is closed until September. And so we currently cannot get in to access things. They are being securely stored. We're in contact with building safety and with our custodians. So everything is safe, but we can't actually get in the building to coordinate that. So we are anticipating that, you know, New York City's pause has been extended through June 16th, 13th. Don't quote me on the date, but yeah, I think Ms. Reeves is saying 13th. We believe that after that, we might get an update on when we can access the building itself, and we'll immediately share that information with you. That will include your ability to pick up any medication that might be in the school nurse's office. So for anybody who had an inhaler there or any other things, as soon as we have access to the building, you'll be able to get that as well. Great. Calendar for the rest of this school year. Yep, seeing these updates here. So we have not sent out an updated calendar through the end of the school year. As of right now, everything is slated to remain mostly as planned. Excuse me, there will not be school on Memorial Day. And for Chancellor's Day, as Ms. Walker shared, and there will be a family newsletter going out tomorrow from Public Prep confirming this. So you heard it here first, whatever TV show, that's a a motto for. We are moving our Chancellor's Day, which is typically June 4th, the Thursday, to June 5th, the Friday. On June 5th, scholars will not have school that day. Staff will be working on end of year closeouts, all the things that we need to do to prepare for the end of the year. And then in terms of last day of school and end of year assessments, all of that's being finalized. And if there are any shifts, those will be shared with families soon. And just a reminder, while we are looking to administer some end of year progress monitoring assessments to students, they are not a pass-fail assessment that is going to have an impact on the scholar's overall grade. It's really us coming up with a data point that helps us know where students are at the end of this year to help us in our summer planning, so that when we come back together in the fall, we have all the plans in all the world to get our kids caught up if we need to, and to hit the ground running. So I know we are right at 6 o'clock. If I've got a couple additional minutes for questions, I know the team might need to pop off of here. If you do, staff members, I really appreciate your time. Just a huge shout out to our teacher leaders. They are not required to be on these chat and choose. They come because they want to be here to be able to share information with their teams and to answer your questions. So they're working the full days and then coming to chat and choose, which is just speaks volumes about their commitment to your kiddos and how much they care about them. So thank you, teacher leaders, for being here. Really appreciate that. And if you need to hop off, feel free. And families, if you don't have questions, you are also welcome to go ahead and head out. If you do have questions, feel free to pop them in the chat or come off mute, and I'm happy to address them. Mr. Medina, I didn't get to say hello directly when you popped in. Good to see you.
Likewise, I was about to type over basically thank you and your administration for doing your best in these circumstances, and we're getting acclimated to this kind of lifestyle at the moment. And for parents, I stated before in the chat that it's intense as far as trying to provide a constant workflow, a demanding workflow, depending on your occupation, and just like your staff, and then still having meal preparations and oversight on kind of borrowing the educator cap during your day and overseeing them a little bit, because they tend to walk away to get something to drink, go back to the computer. They're seeing their friends do something. And that's also something, maybe, I don't know how that works, but maybe if the online component at some point in the classroom, they kind of like, the teacher can lock it in where it's just a teacher. Because I noticed that Maya can see her friends on the side as well, the cams. And sometimes that's a distracting thing. But it's also good because obviously they can't see each other either. So it's kind of like a give and take situation. But nonetheless, thank you for doing these Zooms. It's definitely insightful. And at times I'm not able to get on as much as I would like to because I'm in conference calls and whatnot that drag on through the day. So I'll try my best.
Absolutely. We appreciate it. We know, there was an article that came out recently that said working parents your workload is increased right now by like 75% because you're trying to do all the things. So our hats are off to you. We are here to support. We know you cannot, we are not expecting you to be homeschool teacher and everything else. That's what we're here for. So we appreciate all that you're doing.
We're all trying. I think a majority of parents are like, just, we know what the educators are doing on their side, but since they're not in a classroom with them, they tend to take advantage of that. So us as the parents have to kind of step in and say, hey, a reminder, it'll behoove you to do what you need to do. That's all. So thank you again.
Absolutely.
The strong is on. What's that?
Hi, Maya. So good to see you.
You too.
Can't wait till we're back in school and I can really see you in real life.
And she has her, I guess, so we got an emotional support pet. Marley.
Fantastic. Oh, what a cute cat.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Little intro there. I'm sure Maya wanted to do that for some time. She wanted to bring her into school, actually, but I told her that's not a good idea. It's not like a dog.
I'm bringing her on with a leash.
No.
Super cute.
Well,
Awesome,
thank
families.
you for
Well,
that. If
yeah,
anything else
absolutely.
comes up, I'm with assisting. I actually spoke to Madison School, which is Cornelia Connolly School. And with that, I asked if any other families were maybe unemployed or anything. And maybe when I do go grocery shopping, I can pick up extra cereal, extra whatever, and maybe just leave it in a bag for the administration to sort out and figure out how to send over to, or even for myself to drop it off at their doorstep. You just never know. Not to be prideful at the time, but you know, hey, you never know with circumstances. Maybe both parents are furloughed, and unfortunately they're still waiting or pending unemployment, because that's a thing that's going on right now due to the circumstances. So if you guys decide to do that, let me know, and I'll try to work out some logistics to help out as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for that.
Got it.
Awesome. Well, parents, I appreciate your time. I know it's limited. We're going to go ahead and hop off for today. But we hope that you have a safe rest of the week. Please don't hesitate to reach out to any of us if you need anything before we see one another again. As always, please hug your children from us, because we can't do it right now. Tell them we said hi. And we look forward. This Friday, I will be going on, I will be hosting a Zoom during the day. I know that time doesn't work for everyone. Trying to vary the times for families, because I know time is better for some. So 11:30 on Friday, I'll do a chat and chew. I'll post this one and that one online so you can see it. And then next week, we'll be back at it with a weekly summary update and at least 2 opportunities to connect. So I look forward to seeing you all there. And until then, have a great evening.
Bye. Great.
Bye. Take care.
Have a good one, everyone.